We will start with the third life process, respiration. In this we will read about what is respiration, breathing and cellular respiration, important features of cellular respiration, the types of respiration, respiration in plants, in animals. In animals we will read about some aquatic animals and terrestrial animals, human respiratory system and the mechanism of breathing. So talking about what is respiration, it is the process of releasing energy from the food that we have taken or we have eaten. And it's the releasing of energy is from the food is also known as the oxidation of food. So here the food mainly is the glucose and which results in the formation of carbon dioxide, water and energy. We know that the food is prepared during photosynthesis in the chloroplasts, and in the same cell there is another organelle called the mitochondria, which helps in which we call as the powerhouse of the cell. That means it produces power, that means it produces energy. This energy is produced from the food produced in the chloroplasts. Now the food is transferred from the chloroplast into the cytoplasm, and from the cytoplasm into the mitochondria, and inside the mitochondria it is broken down to produce energy. After the breaking down of the food, the carbon dioxide and water which are released, this carbon dioxide is used for photosynthesis, and this carbon dioxide and water both are used for photosynthesis. If they were not inside the animals, inside the plant cell, then the carbon dioxide and water is released into the environment. So let us talk about what is breathing. Breathing and respiration. Actually, breathing is a part of respiration, the first part of respiration, in which the outer atmospheric oxygen enters into our body and our body's carbon dioxide goes into the atmosphere. So breathing is a process in which the oxygen from the air comes into our body and carbon dioxide from the body is released out. So it's a mechanical process. Then cellular respiration is the process in which the oxygen which is captured by the lungs passes from the lungs into the heart, and from the heart it is pumped into the whole body and there inside the cells, and then in the cells the food is broken down by that oxygen and it produces carbon dioxide energy. This process is called cellular respiration. Talking about what is actually the oxidation of food. Like we know that when we burn a candle, its wick is burnt in presence of oxygen, and then some amount of heat and carbon dioxide is produced along with some amount of water vapor also. Similarly, food is in presence of oxygen is broken down into carbon dioxide, water and energy. Similarly, inside our body. Now what happens? First of all, the assimilated food, which is the glucose, goes from our body, the assimilated food goes into the blood circulatory system, and from there it reaches the tissues, and inside the tissues are composed of cells, and from there it reaches into each and every cell. Now the cells also, the structure of the cell is almost like this, and the cell contains the cytoplasm, yellow colored, and you can see here rod-like structures called as the mitochondria. So the food will now reach into the cytoplasm and the mitochondria. What is actually happening, the process? So here I have told you that glucose is a 6-carbon atom. Glucose, its formula is C6H12O6. That means 6 carbon atom, 12 hydrogen atoms and 6 oxygen atoms. So the 6 carbon molecule will not be able to enter into the mitochondria. So first of all, inside the cytoplasm, the food will anaerobically break down into pyruvic acid, which is a 3-carbon molecule. That means 2 molecules of pyruvic acid are formed from 1 molecule of glucose, and this pyruvic acid both the pyruvic acids will enter into the mitochondria and further breakdown of the food will occur. So this pyruvic acid, if it gets the oxygen, then only it will enter the mitochondria. If it does not get the oxygen, then the further breakdown of the pyruvic acid will also occur inside the cytoplasm itself. So there are 3 different ways by which this glucose is oxidized to produce energy. When this process takes place in the absence of oxygen, it is called anaerobic respiration. So it occurs in yeast cells also and also in our body. In the yeast, when the glucose will break up into pyruvic acid, and then this pyruvic acid without oxygen will break down into ethanol and carbon dioxide, and also some amount of energy is produced. This ethanol is a 2-carbon molecule. 2 carbon of ethanol and 1 carbon of carbon dioxide, making 3 carbons of pyruvic acid. Now this is also called as fermentation in yeast. In our body, what happens when this process takes place in our body? It may occur in the presence of oxygen or it may occur in the absence of oxygen. When oxygen is present, this pyruvic acid will enter into the mitochondria and it will completely break down into carbon dioxide, water and energy. So 6 molecules of carbon dioxide are produced. 3 molecules of carbon dioxide are produced from pyruvic acid, and from 1 molecule of glucose 6 molecules of carbon dioxide are produced. Sometimes when there is a lack of oxygen inside our muscle cells, then what happens? The pyruvic acid will not enter into the mitochondria, and it will break down inside the cytoplasm into lactic acid and energy. Lactic acid is a 3-carbon molecule. So these muscle cells, when lactic acid is produced inside them, then it will cause muscle cramps. So there will be some pain in our muscles. This is the flow chart in which glucose first breaks down into pyruvic acid. Glucose breaks down into pyruvic acid, and then here this is pyruvic acid or pyruvate. Then if it gets oxygen, in presence of oxygen, it will break down completely into carbon dioxide, water and energy in the mitochondria. If it does not get oxygen, then in the muscle cells it will form lactic acid, and in yeast cell it will form ethanol and carbon dioxide. Then coming to the energy which is produced during respiration, that is ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That means 3 molecules of phosphate are present in this adenosine triphosphate. Now when we require energy, at that time this energy which is produced from respiration, which is also known as an energy currency, it breaks down into adenosine diphosphate, and 1 molecule of phosphate comes out. This 1 molecule of phosphate is released, and when this 1 molecule of phosphate is released, at that time 30.5 kilojoule of energy is produced, and this energy is used for various activities of our body. So it is also known as an energy currency, ATP. So here you can see aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Types of respiration. Aerobic respiration is the one which takes place in the presence of oxygen. Here the oxygen will help in breaking down of glucose into carbon dioxide, water and energy. It should, when you write this equation, it should be in balanced form. C6H12O6 plus 6 molecules of oxygen will give 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water, and amount of 38 ATP. Now here it is given that ATP which is produced is a high energy compound, while ADP is a low energy compound. The ATP can only store energy for a short period. It is made inside the organelles, inside the mitochondria, which is scattered in the cytoplasm. So ADP plus phosphate, that the phosphate is already the phosphate and ADP will mix to produce energy, and it is a reversible reaction. ATP will break down into ADP and phosphate and release energy. So anaerobic respiration is that when oxygen is needed during respiration, when oxygen is not needed during respiration, it is called anaerobic respiration. In yeast and muscle cells, when in yeast it occurs, it is fermentation. In muscles, it causes muscle cramps, and a large amount of oxygen is then needed to break down the accumulated lactic acid for this muscle cramps. And when this if oxygen is produced, then only lactic acid will break. Otherwise, that has to turn into glycogen in the liver, and then this oxygen requirement is called as oxygen depth. Talking about comparison of aerobic and anaerobic respiration. So what are the similarities? In both, glucose is broken down to produce energy. So energy is produced in both of them, and enzymes are needed for their processes. Then what are the differences? That aerobic respiration requires a lot of oxygen, or it requires oxygen. Anaerobic does not require. Then food is completely oxidized. Here incomplete oxidation of food occurs, and energy released is in large amount and in small amount. The end products are carbon dioxide and water. Here the end products can be ethanol or lactic acid. Where does it occur? The aerobic respiration occurs in the living cells. Anaerobic respiration occurs in lower organisms like yeast, and in the muscle cells during excessive strenuous exercise. Talking about respiration in various plants and animals, how does it take? Now it takes place by a process of simple diffusion. The intake of oxygen and release of carbon dioxide takes place through the stomata or through the lenticels. Stomata are present in the leaves. Similar openings present on the bark of the leaf or of the stem are called lenticels. Respiration takes place by simple diffusion. In the daytime, the carbon dioxide which is released during respiration is used up for photosynthesis, so the oxygen is not given out. but at night there is no photosynthesis, so the carbon dioxide is given out at night. That is why it is said that we should not sleep under the trees at night, because at that time there is a lot of carbon dioxide. So talking about the respiratory organs of various animals, here this is the amoeba. In the amoeba, the respiration, there is no special respiratory organ, so it occurs by simple diffusion. It is a single-celled organism, so diffusion is through its body surface. Then in the next, when we talk about the earthworms have a slimy moist skin, and through this moist skin the oxygen which is dissolved in the water enters into the body and the carbon dioxide diffuses out. Similarly, these are the amphibians. The amphibians, they can breathe both through their skin and also they can breathe through their lungs. They have their skin and their lungs. So when they are in water, they breathe through their moist skin, and when they are on land, they breathe through their lungs. Talking about the trachea, the respiratory organs of these insects and mammals. So here there are some insects. This is a grasshopper. You can see this grasshopper is having a network of tubes. This network of tubes are the trachea. This trachea leads to outside through small openings, and these small openings are called the air holes or the spiracles. In each segment there is a spiracle, and this spiracle lead into the trachea. Trachea supply the oxygen to each and every cell and collects the carbon dioxide and gives out through the spiracles. Talking about the aquatic organisms. So water contains less oxygen dissolved in it. Diffusion of gas molecules is more rapid in air, and air is less viscous than water. So the ventilation requires 1/10 of the energy of water breathing. Now coming to the structure of the fish, which are aquatic animals, you can see here the red colored organs are the gills. These gills are the ribbon-like structures. You can see here these ribbon-like flaps. They are flooded with water. What happens? The water enters through the mouth and it goes out through the gills. When it goes out through the gills, it floods them, and then the gills, which are richly supplied with blood vessels, inside them what happens? Through diffusion only, oxygen goes into the gills and carbon dioxide is coming out from the gills into the water that moves out of the body of the fish. So then coming about, water flows through the mouth, then over the gills where oxygen is removed. Carbon dioxide and water are then pumped out through the operculum. Operculum is the opening or the gill slit. This one is the operculum. This structure is the operculum. This is a gill slit, or this is the opening where the gills open into the outside. Coming to the next, the mammalian respiratory system. This system, our bodies, the mammalian, we will talk about this system later. First, we will talk about the mechanism of respiration. The mechanism of respiration inside this mechanism of respiration, what happens? Actually, we know that our respiratory organs are the lungs, and these lungs are found in the thoracic cavity. Lower to this thoracic cavity, this is the abdominal cavity, and this is the thoracic cavity. This thoracic cavity is divided from the abdominal cavity by a diaphragm. It is a muscular sheet. Now, and this lungs are protected by the ribs. Between the ribs and the lungs, there are some muscles called as the intercostal muscles. Now, when we inhale, at that time the diaphragm contracts. Diaphragm is a umbrella shaped, or you can say dome shaped structure. When it contracts, it will come down. Now, when the intercostal muscles will contract, at that time they will move towards the ribs. So the lungs will expand both from they will expand up towards the up and also from the down. So when they will expand, at that time the air pressure inside the lungs will decrease. So a lot of air will be inhaled. Now when we exhale, that time what happens? The diaphragm comes back to its original position, or it relaxes. Again, the intercostal muscles also relax. So the air pressure inside the lungs will increase. So when the air pressure will increase, the air will rush out through the nostrils into the outside, and this is called exhalation. So this is the process. In my next part, next slide only, you will see that how is our structure of a respiratory system.